Hi, everyone. Sorry that we're late. There's been a lot going on around here. I got home after I didn't volunteer with all the volunteers. We've been planting trees and covered in dirt. And I was up really early yesterday and didn't shower after I was already covered in dirt from the day before, and got home last night and the water tank exploded. So poor Aransas, I had to put her on hold because I've got in the shower. Thankfully, somebody got here to fix the tank very quickly. But I'm super excited and didn't want to delay this conversation more than 15 minutes. Today, we're bringing on our old friend, Aransas Savas, who is the fabulous podcast host of the Uplifters. And she has an amazing event that's coming up on the 17th that I want to talk about. But she is like superhuman, and I want to get into a couple conversations with her and be really upfront about what I felt about something and what she was doing and how it made me feel and how it made me come to different realizations. And if you're a woman who follows another woman and you have that feeling of jealousy or something, sometimes you got to realize how much you want to put into something and how much you were going to get, and realize that feeling is a calling and not jealousy. Everybody knows how I feel about that. So without further ado, I want to welcome my good friend, Aransas Savas, the host of the Uplifters podcast, life coach. She's worked with some amazing people, Oprah being one of them. So everybody, please welcome. We get strength by
Hello. Beautiful, amazing Chrisie Canny.
Thank you. Oh, we're gonna dance?
I'm so into this.
I love your jingle. Oh, wait, are you gonna have a new jingle this year?
I don't know. I thought I was, but artists can be kind of temperamental, especially when they're your 15-year-old daughter. And so honestly, we worked so hard and learned so much about how to collaborate as creator and client and mother and daughter over the last one that I'm a little relieved if we don't need to do it again. I would like a new song just because I think it's beautiful. And I love the first one though so much. So TBD, she hasn't written a new one yet.
Okay. All right. So let me read your little bio quickly. Okay. So, a veteran well-being and leadership coach, certified by the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching and the International Coaching Federation. She spent her career in the intersection of research, behavior change, and coaching. She created a uniquely holistic and proven approach to coaching that blends practical, science-backed techniques with energy coaching. She's partnered with many companies like Weight Watchers, Best Buy, Trust, Edward Jones, US Bank, and many more to create meaningful and often transformative experiences. As a facilitator on a mission to make well-being accessible to everyone, she's coached thousands of group sessions, teaching participants across socioeconomic levels to leverage the well-being techniques once reserved for the wellness elite. She is based in Brooklyn, 21-time marathon, a newswife and mama to a 200-year-old sourdough culture, fluffy pup, and two spirited, creative girls, and your amazing podcasts. So Aransas, thank you so much for taking your time and coming on today. I know that you're super busy and I really appreciate it, but I want to talk about what you have achieved this year, which is just like outstanding.
Oh, thank you. It's been a bonkers ride this year. It's been so fun. And I'm just so excited to get to hang out with you.
Yeah. So you're celebrating on May 17th, because it's your year anniversary. So I had the joy of being on your podcast very early on in the beginning, and you had this dream, and this is, what we're going to get into and talk about. You talk about how you got thrown into being in business for yourself, but then you had this dream about your podcast. So tell everybody like how you go about getting your guests and, what it's entailed the past year.
Yeah. So the podcast, as you said, came from really this idea that, we should all be so fortunate to do all day the thing we enjoy doing most. And for me, that's exactly what you and I are doing right now. I love talking to amazing, inspiring women like you. And that's why I wanted you to be one of my first guests. And I have always loved audio. as a media, and just found it. I think back to when I was 14 and like having phone calls with friends, lying in bed all night long talking, and just the intimacy that comes from an audio connection. And so, a podcast was something I had dreamed of doing as long as there's been a podcasting format, right? Like I've always wanted to. I tried doing it with former companies and it never really panned out, through lots and lots of fits and starts. And so when I got laid off a few years ago, it was this moment of, first of all, I was like, do I have any skills? Is there anything I could do in the world, or am I done? Right? Like this moment of panic.
Silly things that you as a coach would be yelling at somebody else for. Totally.
But we all do it, right? Like I didn't know. And I didn't feel like I chose the exact timing that all this. Anyway, so I then finally got to this question through talking to a bunch of amazing women, my friends, who were so generous and so loving and so supportive. And first of all, we're like, you have many skills, you'll be fine. And then they got me out of sort of that crisis mindset of like, and this is something I think a lot of us women do, like, I have to do whatever comes to me, or I have to do what I've always done because I know what that is and it's familiar. But my brilliant friends were like, well, what if you could do anything?
What if there was no fear, or or what would you do if you were guaranteed to succeed in everything?
Yes, exactly.
Right? Okay.
And so I just had enough amazing voices in my ear that every time I got scared to death, somebody would be like, it's okay, keep going. Or I'd be like, well, I don't know how to do this. And one of my friends would be like, this is how you do it. It's cool. And so it really was through all these amazing conversations with these women that I admire that I was able to take steps toward even knowing what my dream was. And I realized that all I wanted to do was talk to amazing women all day. And so whether it's through my consulting with corporate clients, through my coaching, or through this podcast, that's what I get to do all day. And lucky me, I get to listen to every episode 5 times. So I get just like a constant, and it's like a blood infusion almost, right? Somebody referred to it yesterday as courage capital. And I can't stop thinking about that. And like, right, when you start a new business, you're like, oh, I need money. I need technology. But the capital we most need is courage capital. And so these women who are so courageous, and again, I just keep looking at you and thinking about your story, but starting your business, your cancer journey, your family, your like all of it. You were somebody who has demonstrated so much courage and been this resource of courage capital for so many. The way I met you was because somebody was like, this woman is so amazing. So to answer your original question, how do I get my guests? It's a network. And I know a bunch of amazing women, and I felt selfish only getting to hear their stories. So I knew I was going to share their stories, but I also want to meet all the amazing women that inspire them. And so every guest nominates someone else. And so there's just this beautiful interconnected web. And so it's like all these points of courage are getting stronger through this network effect of connecting to one another. And I get to meet amazing people all day.
Yeah. And let's put it out there, because I always like to say, who's your dream guest?
Michelle Obama, like number 1. Thank you.
Yeah. We just keep putting it out every time we see each other.
Yep. Michelle.
So I think it's amazing. And actually, because next week I was introduced to my friend from Grandma's Love, Teresa Montefiore, which isn't, she has an amazing story in what she does for the community too. But she introduced me to a woman that she met. What was the name of the? Oh my God, I'm not going to remember the name of the class they were taking together. But her name is Chef Andrea Young, and I'm interviewing her next week. And she's an older woman who was an architect her whole life. And then during COVID, she started a chocolate business that's like gluten-free, like low sugar. Like, I'm like, so you went from that to that? Like, so I can't wait to talk to her. But I just we were on the phone for like an hour already talking. And I'm like, I got to introduce you to Aransas. Like, you gotta get her on. Just like, I'm like, how do you, that whole courage to like go and to dive. And I'm like, it's like really a big shift, but
Mhm.
then but then it's still a similar shift because it's really her skills and talents that she had, but just turned it. And, people like, so that courage capital you're talking about right now, right? So that's just there's people who can make a decision quickly, and
Mhm.
right. And then there's people who can't, right? Um, so either like, oh, life hits you with something, and then you're like, okay, what am I doing? And which was what you were able to do. Like, like so many of us, like, there's so many things I want to do, but yes, they're going to take courage, but yeah, it's hard. So how did you finally find that courage to be like, okay, I'm going for the first episode?
Mm. Well, again, it really comes back to the belief of other people helping me believe in myself.
The
And
whole theory of being an uplifter.
yeah. I mean, I get to do that for my clients as a coach all the time. But they're not my only source of that. It was my husband being like, of course you're going to do this. You were born for this. It was my kids saying like, we're all in. How can we help? And it was my friends and my mother. And it was this whole like community of people who were like, let's do it. And so it took a lot of courage to learn all the things I didn't know and to keep moving forward. But I don't know. I don't know if I would have done it without so many people coming in and saying like, okay, how can I help?
Right. No,
And
because
my
even though
friend,
you're a coach, and like some people say to me, like, oh, you're super positive, like, you're always like rooting for somebody. But we as those people, we need our cheerleaders too.
yes, most of
Right?
all.
Yeah. Everybody needs a cheerleader. Not, there isn't one person out there that can just be like, I'm just gonna go do this all by myself. There is no such thing.
No, no. And I think like I look at you as somebody who has done so much and who has accomplished so much. And I think, like you said, people who are doing things, we we don't necessarily have time to step back and be like, well, how did all this happen? But for me, it was, I mean, one generous friend who has a podcasting company was like, this is how we're going to do it. And I was just like, I talked about it too. So that's the other thing I want to like say out loud over and over again is that keeping my dreams a secret has meant they don't happen. And every time I let my dreams come out of the closet, I am amazed at how many people are like, yes, I'm in. This event that you're talking about, there's going to be, let's say, 100 and something women there. Well,
Mhm.
I'd say a good 95 of them are people who are like, I'm coming because I want to support your dream. I want to be a part of your dream.
And then that's amazing. And I mean, but that's how, anything that you're selling, whether it's a product or an event or a podcast, it comes from, people want to be you have to sell yourself and
Mm,
believe in what you're selling, right? And
mm.
you believe that by taking all these amazing women you've interviewed and putting them on stage for us to listen to are just going to benefit us. And
Right.
that's right.
When you get that many amazing women, and I tell you, every one of our guests is just like a show guest is just as amazing as our event guest, right? Like these are women who, in all different domains, have led such uplifting lives. And some of them have very quiet lives in small communities, and nobody's ever heard their story. And some of them on very big stages, and everybody's heard their story. But like, what happens when you put all that in one room? I don't know.
We're going to find out. So where is it at?
It's at this venue called Caveat, downtown Manhattan. It's a really beautiful space. It's mostly used as a comedy club. One of our guests is
Okay.
married there a couple weeks afterward. It's a beautiful venue though, and it's really intimate, and there'll be a lot of chances for folks to do some self-growth work, as well as make really powerful connections with other people, and maybe set some intentions to like get more courage capital.
I may, I may need that.
What do you want to do?
I mean, how many times was I have okay, all right. So I wrote my first chapter in the anthology Magnificently Made, right? So that was like, and this goes back to the topic that I want to bring back, right? So when you're with women and you see something that's going on and then you feel that little pang of what you think is jealousy, I always say is, God's way of telling, for me, it's God's way of telling me that might be something you really might enjoy doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you have to see how much sweat equity you want to put in something and talk yourself through whether that's the dream or not, right? So who was I just listening to? Oh my God. I've been like listening to Mel Robbins like so much. I've been like, and she had somebody down the other day and she's like, oh, you want to be an author, but you really like being social. So do you really want to sit by yourself for 20 hours a week and write? Right. So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I've always said like, so I have, I want to have an anthology. I am going to do this. I am doing it. I've talked to a couple. I want to take 33 breast cancer survivors and tell their story, right? This is going to happen. I'm telling the world. And hey, and if you're listening and you would like to like, just like, back this, sure. Because when I made my breast cancer decision, when I was diagnosed, I knew I'm having double mastectomy, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, like right away. And most women get diagnosed and they have no idea. Because I've had breast cancer events, I've interviewed a lot of breast cancer survivors. My sister had breast cancer. I knew what I wanted to do before my diagnosis. And I want to take 33 women, or, because that's the same number in our anthology, whatever it is, and have them put honestly what it's like to have breast cancer, what it feels like with different options, right? So like when we had an event years ago, there were 5 people up on the panel and I'm like, hey, what's sex like after you have surgery? Right?
Mm-hmm.
People, like, oh my God, no, yeah, women, we're sexual beings. We like our girls' touch, so like, what was it like? So, okay, if you had a lumpectomy and you had radiation, then what did they feel like? And, when you look in the mirror, how does that feel like? So I really want all those questions in a book. So a woman who's diagnosed or pre-diagnosed could be like empowered to be like, I know what I want, not be like dumbfounded and not educated and to have pages of questions to ask the doctor. So that's going to happen. That will happen. I'm making it happen.
Yes.
All right. So there.
Not keeping it a secret.
No, right. I'm not keeping it secret. Everybody knows. So okay. So then you come out with this amazing podcast, right? And then you win an award, right? And then I'm like, oh my God, how is it Aransas doing so much? Right. And this feeling in me was like, oh, Chrissy, you do this thing. You've been interviewing all these women, but you never like taken it anywhere, right? And then I started like uplifting. Oh, geez, putting the podcast up on Apple, like my old interviews, and then I kind of like stopped. And then because it was like a whole bunch of people like doing things, and I felt like I wasn't doing it well enough.
Mm-hmm.
And we ran into each other because we were big bluegrass fans. And you told me about how many hours of work you put into it. And I was like, oh, Chrissy, you don't have time for this. And nor would I be able, nor would that bring me joy being able to do all that. Like I just couldn't, like I need to be more outspoken and talking to people. Right. And I was like, and that's like, as women, it's something we all have to like listen to ourselves and ask ourselves, what is it in what you're doing that either I want to do or, or don't understand. And as we like all look at each other and be like, oh, but I wish we can all just be open and honest. And I appreciated what you said so much to be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. My husband's helping me. We're editing. We're doing this. And I'm like, no, that's why I'm just going to do lives because I don't like to do that. And I just like talking. So, like, right. So this is why we're live, because I would become so focused on what I'm saying and what I'm doing and coming like tongue tied. And I'm like, and I would just like edit it all. I'm like, nope, this is perfect for me. So,
That's a good story though, Chrissy, because I think we can get sucked into in every part of our lives. Like, this is the good thing to do, or this is what success looks like. And that's why we're all so freaking exhausted. And I think that's like the exhaustion and word, or overwhelm, or like that is the curse of uplifters. We end up overdoing and overcommitting and over parenting and over serving and all this stuff because we have so much goodwill and so much desire to do good and be good. And then we end up doing all these things that we didn't actually want to do, or that don't really fulfill us, or that just deplete us and don't pour back into us. And so, the reason I wanted to do the uplifters was like to give myself some courage capital, but the other piece of it was to help us all keep learning how to take care of ourselves as well as we take care of everyone and everything else that we care about. And that looks like exactly the example you just gave, which is, okay, that sounds fun. Great. And am I really interested in that? Or is it somebody else's dream that doesn't really fully excite me in the process? I also think, though, to your point about like people getting things done, so often we feel like we need to know all those answers before we start. So my other favorite thing about your story is you did it. And then you collected some more data about like what it was like for you to do it. You talked to other people who were doing it. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. Yay.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing about uplifters is we'll be like, I said I'm going to do it, so I better keep going forever no matter what. Even if it hurts.
No, but we can't, because like you said, we're women and post-menopause, and really you got to find like that, like this brings me joy, because if we don't take care of ourselves and if we don't have fun, like it's just not good. And really I'm living more of the like cancer survivor, don't want to get cancer again, and to realize that like I have to live in a state of like not being stressed out about things.
Yeah.
That I need to find that joy. I need to find time for myself today. So what do you do for joy?
Ooh.
I mean, I know a few things you do.
Music is a big part of it, more and more all the time. One of the things I do at all of the events I host, and I host a ton of virtual events and now in person, but we always do a one song dance party. And sometimes I'll get like sluggish or tired or low during the day, and I'll just reach out to one of my collaborators and be like, one song dance party? And she almost always writes back, yep, BRB. And so literally we play one song and dance our faces off and just look completely ridiculous. No, I don't want to like be transparent or not. I have zero rhythm or musical or like dance ability, but it's not about that at all. It's just about like getting into my body and getting out of my head, getting off the computer. It's the power of music. So that I spend a lot of time with my family. There are certain things, going back to music, that used to feel like a hassle and used to feel like an obligation. And then I added music to them, and suddenly I was like, oh, I can't wait to do the dishes tonight. And it really is, because it was like, oh, I'm going to listen to a podcast or an audiobook or a song. And that really, for me, feels like a real break to just kind of have fun and get something done that I know my future self will thank me for, but do it in a way that I just really enjoy. So yeah, audio is a big part of my joy. Phone calls included. So It's like, now that I think about it, and I've never put that together before, a lot of my joy comes through my headphones. Physically, I run a lot. That's a big piece of it. And, go to the gym and stuff, but I don't know how much joy I get from the gym. I mean, I get joy from like flexing my biceps now, because I was never somebody who had those. And I'm like, I rock. Look at my beast arms.
Well, I mean, muscle strength is very important as we get older.
It is. Yeah. And it feels very
good. And it helps fight cortisol and all those bad things that, give us the belly and that give us, all the negative thoughts in our head. So it's really important.
Really important. It feels really good. What else do I do for joy? I mean,
you travel
playfully. We travel a lot. That's true.
I mean, I'm like, I could name a couple of things that you really enjoy. The beach, the Jersey Shore.
Yeah. We go to the shore in the summers and on weekends, and that involves, yes, the beach and really delicious pizza. And
wait a minute. You're saying there's delicious pizza down in Jersey?
Yes. It's very important that you know about Franny's, Grandma Pie. It's really the Tipsy Nona. Like, it's worth a trip. Seriously, come visit, and I will feed you my favorite pizza that I don't make. I actually like my own pizza better than pretty much anybody's.
Okay, I'm gluten-free.
Okay, she does gluten-free.
Oh, okay, because there is in Asbury Park, there's Tallulah's, and they actually have an amazing thick crust, square, gluten-free pie. So it's not even pie; it's like 2 pieces for like $27. But it's like,
shout out to
it's very good.
It's also a lot of like thrift shopping and crafting. Yeah. And so like, that's really how we spend our downtime, is making things.
And it's family, and you guys, I love it. What would you say for somebody who's thinking about doing something? Maybe starting a podcast. What would be one lesson you've learned?
I mean, one lesson I learned is, you alluded to, like, how do you find your guest? But a lot of it really comes to, how can you make it easy on yourself to do the parts of the process you want to do and not do the parts you don't want to do. Now, I didn't really know what those would be when I started out, because I remember very distinctly when I talked to my friend Kara and I was like mapping it all out. I was like, but here's the one thing I will never do. I will never be the person listening to every episode 5 times and editing it. I'm going to say it, and then I never want to hear it again. Well, turned out that I really want to listen to every episode 5 times, and I really want to feel like I love it, and I really want to massage the story. And to date, I haven't even given that up, and we're releasing episode 59 next week, and I was sure I would never do that. So, I mean, I think
And how many downloads have you had so far?
I think we're right now at about 25,000.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's been.
And the award you got this year is?
Most Inspiring Awards from Signal. We also got a finalist award for Best New Podcast. So yeah, it's been, like, I just can't say it enough. It's been bonkers. But I think maybe the thing I would say, whether you want to start a podcast or anything, is like, don't expect yourself to know all the answers. And don't wait until you know for sure you should do it. And for me, what that means is, like, just go play with it. Make yourself a scrappy prototype. See what it feels like to do that. Release it to 2 people. See what they think and what they play back. Like, put yourself in a learner mindset and let yourself explore both what you enjoy about the process, what you don't, what you want more of and less of, instead of trying to make it like be figured out or be right, because that ultimately stops us from doing anything.
Exactly. Because you're never going to have let's see, I've owned a brick and mortar, I've owned a wholesale, I've owned a manufacturer. And yeah, believe me, every day you learn something different, right? Like, every day is a lesson. You're not going to know everything. Sometimes you just got to fake it till you make it, as they say.
Yes. And that's what, if you listen to these 60 women in total, that's one of the big lessons you'll take from them, is these are people who make a lot of mistakes.
Lessons. I stopped calling them. I like to call mine lessons now.
Mhm.
All right. So I am so looking forward to the event. And I love that, we're going to be selling some bracelets to people who are out and about and maybe making new friends. Wait, is Maureen bringing Magnificently Made or am I bringing copies of it? Do we
I
think
mean, I think you both should. She's bringing those too, I
Oh,
think.
happy birthday, Maureen. It's her 60th birthday
Happy
today.
birthday.
Yes.
So amazing guest from the podcast, nominated by Chrisie, who
Yeah.
was nominated by Melanie Cohen.
Yes. And Melanie was by. You're going to keep going. Can you do it all?
I can no.
Oh,
No.
I was going to say,
I don't
it's going to
know.
be like a really good trick if you get up and do that.
For Melanie guest, like Sonia from Seriatim. So many good ones. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So where can people get tickets for the Uplifters live event on May 17th?
Just search Uplifters Live on Eventbrite. If you're not coming to the event, follow our Substack. If you're on Substack, it's like my favorite platform right now. Everybody should have a Substack. I'm going to do a workshop soon to teach people to do it because I just think it's like so amazing for connecting with people. So you can find us on Substack, all the socials. Reach out to me, Aransas at liveupdaily.com. Love to hear from you.
It's gonna be great. I'm really, really looking forward to it and hanging out with you and meeting all these amazing, like, talk about a room full of like inspiration. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Melanie coming?
Yes. I ordered waterproof mascara last night. Pro tip.
Okay. You can tell me I'm gonna cry. Okay.
I mean, I know I am. I'm not going to be able to stand in front of that.
Are we all gonna? We're probably all gonna cry. Okay.
I don't know. I know I am when I see all of you sitting in that room. Like I've had that.
If you cry, I'll cry.
Over here. Yeah, exactly. So I ordered waterproof mascara. I was like, better safe than sorry.
Okay. All right. And what are you wearing?
Oh, thanks for asking. Do you want to see?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Also, I've been through.
Like I need to know, like, what am I bringing? What personality am I bringing? I have multiple dress personalities, so
nice. Yeah, I have. I have had many outfit ideas. I've tried on way more outfits than is probably reasonable. But this is where I've landed is with this really groovy Farm Rio dress that I love. It's so branded, right? And
I mean, like, yeah, like your colors, yeah, like your lip, like your branded lipstick. Hello,
yeah, I gotta wear that lipstick. And then
I love it.
Sneakers that I'm wearing right now, I'm trying them out. I thought I was wearing Doc Martens because I'm always wearing platform Docs, and then I ordered these killer platform sneakers. Let's see if I can get my leg up high enough. I'm standing. Ooh, there they are. So yeah, that's my look.
All right, I gotta.
I like to see what you wear.
I need like I need something bright.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like the shirt you have on would be pretty amazing. We would look like all sorts of twinning with the shimmer.
When I was little, I had this blue satin dress that was like a little disco dress, and it was like my favorite dress. I loved it. And so, like, this makes me think of that.
My kids think about, I don't know if your daughter did this, but my kids always talk about like princesses by color, by their wardrobe colors, because they each have a signature wardrobe color in Disney.
Oh, all right. So I would be
Cinderella.
Yeah.
The blonde hair, the blue. Yeah.
Cinderella, you know what? Cinderella was one of my favorite books. And it was just the pages of all the birds, which, if you ever see me with all my birds outside, and like how they made her dress. Like that was my favorite page in the book. So, being a creative, like,
the golden book.
Yes.
Wow.
See, so who knew? I was maybe I was channeling it, not realizing it.
Your Cinderella energy.
All right. I need I need to get fabulous. So thank you so much for taking your time again. Sorry for being late. But it's going to be fun. And I want to introduce you to Chef Andrea Young to you. Her chocolates were amazing. I gave up sugar this year. Before you have to go. Well, that I've been on like a whole trying to help my brain kind of situation. I was told I was pre-diabetic in the fall, and mommy has early onset dementia, and with stage 3 diabetes and Alzheimer's, that whole new connection. I was like, okay, I got to take charge. And what Chef Andrea is, it's like, so I'm like, I started looking at her chocolate. I'm like, oh, and the ingredients, like a big thing. I use all the apps now, Bobby's Best and the Yuka app with all my food. I'm like really trying to be like getting rid of all these toxins in my body. But her things are so low sugar. And so like, if you watch the glucose goddess, if you eat your food in a proper order and don't have dessert in the middle of the day with nothing, you can keep that spike. So I tried it and it's delicious. And just, for what, if I want to. So, but really that's not bad. Like I've had like one chocolate like the whole year. So like, it's pretty good.
I'm doing like a 75-day no alcohol thing. And it's been so good. I read this, but I was like, I'm going to brainwash myself to start.
Who?
Quit Like a Woman.
Oh, wait. Quit Like a Woman. Who is that?
No, I can see the book from here, but I can't see the author. Now I'm blanking on her name. Hold, please.
No, I think who was she just on? Maybe
Holly Whitaker. Holly Whitaker.
I wouldn't like. Oh, so like
I had learned so much, and it's been so interesting. And I don't think I ever want to drink again. Like I just don't have any desire to. Not that I drank very often anyway, but now I'm just like,
right, like so Mel Robbins doing that with Dr. Hyman.
Oh, I like him.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah. I mean, I haven't really been drinking a lot this year myself, but like it's still like my one little thing that like if I go out, I like to enjoy. I've gone to the point where like I like to be the DD. So like I have one in the beginning of the night. So I'm not because I would get so sick and like be like, Chrissy, what are you wasting your time on? So I was able to like take that. Oh my God, the last time we saw each other, but I told you that.
Oh, that's right. Poor you.
Okay, you have to go. Okay, everybody. Well, I hope that you'll all go buy tickets. There's only a few left. I hope you will join us. There's going to be amazing women there. And like, a couple of our friends will be there. Maureen will be there with her book. I'll be there with our bracelets and Magnificently Made. And there's going to be great things there. Like great. It's going to be an inspiring day in a beautiful location in the city. Come hang out with a bunch of amazing women.
I can't wait. It was so good to see you today. I can't wait to see you in person and hug you.
I know.
And how short I am compared to you again.
Were you?
No, I'm like 5'4".
But didn't you have heels? You probably had your Doc Martens on. I had flats on, maybe.
That might have been it.
I think I used to be 5'9", but now the doctors like, no, like you're 5'7", honey. I'm like, no, I'm not.
5'7" is still super impressive.
All right, everybody, have a great weekend. And if you want to come volunteer in Bay Ridge, we're going out there one more morning again to sweep because if I don't change the people's habits with throwing garbage in the street, I believe in like chopping people's hands off. And I know that's terrible, but really, come on, pick up your garbage, people. Be a good influence on your children. Pick up. And come out and meet at Cafe at 9 a.m. So everybody, goodbye. Let me click up and end this end stream so I can talk to Aransas before she hops off. Bye.